Hey everybody, welcome to another GM Mini, where we give game masters and players something to think on in about 5 minutes or less, I hope. Today's GM Mini is going to be specific to Savage Worlds. We've been doing a lot of Dungeons & Dragons based GM Minis because, well, I do full Savage Worlds videos, and the Minis were a good place to throw D&D little tidbits I have, but I came up with a Savage Worlds tidbit I want to talk about. Today I am talking about Bennies. Now this isn't a Benny tutorial of how to use Bennies or what Bennies can do. One of the biggest things in Savage Worlds and one of the biggest confusions is, how many Bennies should I be giving out? What's a good amount of Bennies? What's a good flow of Bennies? And there isn't a correct answer, but I'm working on kind of a metric for me that seems to be working pretty well. So here's how it goes. The main one, I run a lot of horror settings. Savage Worlds has some of the best horror settings in my opinion. And let's be honest, my favorite setting's ETU, so no surprise. In horror settings, if it is like really dark, really tough horror, I don't give out Bennies. That is fine, especially with the new edition, Savage Worlds Suede or Adventures Edition, since it is now a base rule that whenever Joker comes out, everybody gets a Benny. It handles it. It handles the minimum Benny flow. But that is the toughest it gets. The less Bennies you have, the harder the game gets for the players, which can be what you're shooting for. But what if it's not? How do you figure out how many Bennies is a good amount without going crazy? Well, what I'm currently working with is kind of based on the Bennies the GM gets. Because at the start of the session, the GM also gets their own pool of Bennies equal to 1 for every player they have. Well, I also have a pot. Currently, it is a mug that I have full of Bennies. And yeah, that is LeFou from Beauty and the Beast. It was technically a Gaston mug. Found LeFou's on the back. I prefer this, but that's just me. Here's how I'm doing it. If it's a nail-bitingly hard or horror, like super tense game, I do the no. I just let Jokers handle Benny flow. If it's going to be kind of tough, but I want Benny flow, I have a small pot. A small pot is 1 Benny per player. That's what the pot is. When I run out, I run out. It also lets me easily gauge how many Bennies I've been using. What I'm going to use as kind of my standard pot is 2 Bennies per player. Now, I typically run with about 4 to 6 people at my table, typically 4, sometimes 5, rare occasions 6. This means I have a pot of anywhere from 8 to 12 Bennies. This does not mean each person I have to make sure gets specifically 1 Benny or 2 Bennies. No, the number of people determines the pot, but they still go out to whoever needs them or has earned them through RP and just doing the cool stuff at the table. If I want a high Benny game, I go 3. 12 Bennies in my pot for 4 people is a lot of Bennies once you take into account Jokers and the Bennies they already have. Now, on top of that, I should have a small side note that I don't use Joker's Wild as it is in the book. I've talked about this in other stuff, but since this is a mini and yeah, I got time, I use a rule I call Joker's Wilder, where everybody gets a Benny anytime a Joker's drawn. This sounds the same, but Joker's Wild, or what is now just the rule for Jokers, is when a player draws a Joker, all players get a Benny. When the GM draws a Joker, the GM's pool and all GM wild cards get a Benny. I don't do that. Whenever a Joker comes up, player, GM, table draw, what have you, everybody gets a Benny. All players get a Benny, and the GM's pool gets a Benny. Now, if you're already doing 3 Bennies, I put them in my pot so I can't hold them up. If you're already doing 3 Bennies per player for like this big pot and you want it to be even bigger, whenever a Joker's drawn, you add another Benny to the pot. Everybody got a Benny, the GM got a Benny, and a Benny got added to the pot. Anyways, again, there's no set rule, like hard rule for how many Bennies, but I feel for some GMs, guidelines do help, especially for newer GMs. So I hope this was helpful for you. Anyways, I'll catch you guys later. Bye.